Hi, welcome to this small group resource. My name's Camilla. I work for an organisation called Safe Families, which your amazing church is partnering with. I hope you have got a cup of tea ready and somewhere comfortable to sit, because over the next 20-25 minutes or so, we're going to explore some of the ways that you as a small group could be of life and of hope and of blessing to your community. Now, before we begin, I think it's worth us thinking around this word, blessing. I know it's a really important word to you as a church, as you've been thinking about the ways that you can reach out and minister to your community. Now, one of the definitions that I love of the word blessing that comes from its etymology means to put strength into another's arm. And I love that phrase, this sense that as we bless, we help to alleviate burden, we help to lift stress off of people. And there are so many simple ways that we can do that and be of blessing to those around us. But sometimes we just don't know how, and we just don't know the ways in which to do that. And that's where we hope that as Safe Families, we'll be able to step in and help you as you explore this. So just then to have a little think about Safe Families and about where we fit and what our dream and our passion is that we really believe, and what we would love to see is that every family in the UK that is facing loneliness would find community and belonging. They would find hope. And we work alongside the local authorities to find those families in those communities that are really hard to reach. And then we say to the church in that area, hey church, you have an opportunity here to love and bless and support those around you. Do you want to come and be a part of it? Now, this is what we have found over the last few years as we've been working the last 8 years in the UK, is what we've begun to realise is that loneliness is an epidemic. If anything, this last couple of years has shown us is that loneliness is becoming more and more prevalent. And where we have loneliness within isolated families, what we find is that the research would suggest that as somebody is experiencing loneliness, there is negative self-talk that comes in. There's a cycle that begins where somebody starts to believe, I can't do it alone anymore, or I don't know how I'm going to carry on parenting my children, or I'm all of these things, and you can add any number of things on the end of that sentence. But often, without another speaking into that situation, we can find ourselves circulating and spiraling downwards. And this is what we find for families, is that this can happen so often. And it can get to a point, if we're not careful, where a family will get to a point where they think, I can't carry on anymore. I can't continue to parent my children. And what we find is those children creep closer and closer to the edge of care, and there is a potential that those children could be removed. This is what we also know, is that that's completely unnecessary. If we can get in earlier, if we can be of blessing to those families earlier, if we can put strength in their arm, if we can help relieve some of their burden, then we have the opportunity to not only change that child's life for that moment, but actually the rest of their lives as they carry on. And that's our dream, and that's our hope. We work alongside the local church. We believe the church, that you guys are the people best placed in your communities to love, care, and support people there. So, little practical then. Who are we? What do we do? So we do all sorts of different things. We are a really relational organisation. We love working in partnership, and your church has asked us to come alongside you and help you guys as small groups find ways to be a blessing in your community. I can tell you that we have numerous families who are in need of love, care and support. So, things that you could explore, and what we're going to do is there's a sheet after this session that you can begin to have a bit of a conversation around about Safe Families and some of the ways that you could support some of these families. So there are 3 key ways that we invite individuals to be a part of, and that as a small group you can come be a part of too. So we have volunteers. We train up family friends and we train up host families. Our family friends will go in and meet a family in their home once a week and to be a blessing to them, to put strength in their arm. Our families will come up with 3 things that they really feel would help their family to thrive, and we help them then to achieve that. It may be that somebody in your small group, you think, yeah, we'll nominate somebody in our small group to go ahead and to be a family friend, and we will bless and support them as they do that. It might be that there's a you feel called to be a host family. We have so many families where the parents have not had a moment's break in years, and the effect on their mental health can be quite profound. And so we often say to families, look, would it help if we just took your kids for a night? They'll be really well looked after, and you can just have a bath and have a rest and do whatever you need to do. And so it might be that there's someone in your small group who thinks, oh, we've got a spare room in our house, we would love to do that. And as a group, you can come around them and bless them with meals, with the toys, with anything else that they would need to be able to do that. It might be that you want to, as a small group, be a bit of a resource as well. It could be that you say to us, hey, look, we are going to give a couple of Saturdays a year, and we would love to, as a small group, come and help do a family's garden, or help to decorate, or we are going to come and help declutter and take lots of things to the tip, and we'll rock up with our cars and we'll remove loads of things. We would love that. If there is that you would like to be a part of, let us know. It might be that you think, hey, well, we don't have lots of time as a family, as a small group, but we would love to bless financially. So we often put out onto Acts 345 for things that we're raising money for families. We can't give white goods secondhand, but we can fundraise for them. So it might be that you think, yeah, we would love to be able to be a part of that. Or you may think, oh, we would love to be a part of raising some money for Save Families. Now, in doing that, what you help us to do is to continue to support families. The more money that we can raise outside of our local authority support, the reality is the more families that we are going to be able to reach. And that's our dream and hope, is that there wouldn't be a family in the UK that is suffering from isolation and loneliness that we couldn't help with the church if needed. Or it may be that as a small group you think, we would love to pray. Now, prayer is the absolute engine of Save Families. We are an organisation that is full of faith. We are full of expectancy of all that God could do through the church in the UK to support families. We are huge believers that if the church can come around isolated families in their community, that we could see the rates of care drop dramatically, that we could see families thriving for generations, that we could stop some of the generational cycles that we're seeing, because of prayer and action. And so if you would love to commit to praying for Save Families, again, we would love to hear from you as a small group, because we have a ton of resource that we can send your way as well. And we're beginning to see it. We're beginning to see the change of people in churches and in communities. We're beginning to see the rates come down in some of the areas where we've been working for the last sort of 8-9 years. We're also beginning to see the impact from local authorities as they're being able to relook at some of their budgets, because the amount of money that is being saved means it can be repurposed elsewhere. We're also starting to see families' lives change. Every family that we support, we ask them about how the support has changed or helped. And in 90% of cases, families say that their confidence has increased. And now what that means for that family, when you have confidence, when you have strength in your arm, it means that you're better able to face the day. It means that you're better able to make decisions. It means you're better able to take risks that could shift and change the lives of your family. And this is what we see in Save Families day in, day out. This is what we see in our communities. And you, and I say it again, as the church, are so perfectly and beautifully placed to be able to do this. What we're going to do now is just watch a little story. This is a lovely mum called Tan. We supported her with some volunteers from local churches a little while ago. This is the story of the impact on her life and on her children's life. So we're going to watch that now.
I grew up in care because I lost my mum and dad when I was a kid. Being a single mum with 2 kids and not having much support, like family, because obviously I haven't got no family. I just wanted someone to understand me, like someone to help me, someone who actually can believe in me. Yeah, Peter and Vivian, they like help me with the children. Like if I want an hour to myself, they come up and collect the children, leave me for an hour, do what I've got to do. And then I've got Sue and Ray, that help me with gardening and help, just take me out basically to get out for a bit.
She was very worried that she wasn't doing things right and maybe the children might be taken off her. And
she'd never had the parental support, had she really? What she was doing, she was making up on her own half the time, and she didn't know whether that was right or wrong.
We volunteered to take the kids out, but to see the kids growing up and for them to relate to you and know who you are, to know that we're giving Tam a break as well.
Because obviously I suffer with anxiety and depression, and obviously I can't take the children out, so I'm constantly with the children 24 hours a day, don't get like an hour to myself, so it affects my mental health a bit. If I didn't have them, I think I would have gone downhill and I would have lost my kids. And it's just nice to know somebody you can talk to when you need help. So especially with Ray, I'm always on the phone to him, how to put a curtain pole up, what do I use? He teach me how to use the lawnmower, the strimmer, so I could be independent a lot more. They're really good people. They've helped me, and you know what, they never judged me for what I've been through and what I've done.
Well, it's just a wonderful thing to do. It's just clearly God's will that these families should have help and should feel loved.
It made me feel like I've got a family, that I've got an auntie and uncle, or a mum and a dad. So it was nice to have that bond with them. They do change your life. When you're in a bad place, they make it positive, yeah, so you're not on your own. I'm excited to see them because I know they're coming to see me and I've got someone to talk to. It's like my family, really. Yeah, I'm like my family.
I love that story. I love the story of Tam. I love the impact that those volunteers have had on her life. And I love it when she says that they've become like family. And that's something that we often hear, is that our families will say that the volunteers, the family friends, the people around them have become like family. And we love it when our families get connected into church communities, and maybe it is that you're running toddler groups and all sorts of different things that an isolated in your family and your community could take a step into as well. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to leave it there, and we're just going to invite you to have a conversation on the sheet. Have a little think for you about, when has somebody blessed you? When have they strengthened your arm? What was the impact on your life in that moment when you were struggling? And then as a small group, have a chat and talk through just some of the ways that you may want to come alongside some of these families in different ways. And we love creative ideas. So come back to us. It may be something that I've mentioned, but it may be something completely different. We would love to explore that with you. And then we'll leave it up to your small group leaders just to get in touch with us. And we would love to find a way over the coming years that we can continue together to see an impact in our community. Thank you so much for listening.